Aurora just decided that the city is allowed to reinstate its ban on pit bulls.
Yeah, it's leaving owners with a lot of questions. So our 9 News legal analyst Whitney Traylor here to hopefully get some of those questions answered. Whitney, thank you so much for joining us.
Sure, good to be here this morning.
Okay, the history, I would like to start with that. It was kind of like a ping pong game, like it's all over the place.
We were just talking about that, and I'm glad, so I have it in my head. But yeah, it started in 2005. The city council started with the pit bull ban. That was back in 2005. In 2014, the voters affirmed that. So everybody was on the same page, there was a ban. Well, in 2021, the city council then removed that ban. And still, that was fine. People were living their life. But just now, this is why the lawsuit that was filed by a citizen who said, look, the voters actually had this ban in place, and so the city council didn't have the authority then to remove the ban, and the judge just agreed. So the ping pong match continues, I guess.
So now the judge is reinstating this ban. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so now that's going to be a question, though, because with the ban, will the city enforce it? And I just read a couple things that they said they're not sure if they're going to enforce it. They don't know if they're going to appeal the ban. But now we're going to have this discussion back on the table about, and how it will be enforced. And so there's still a lot of questions. And I think it's important to see what the city does, though, whether they appeal it or not.
I can imagine a lot of families who have pit bulls in their families right now are going, I don't know what to do. What does this mean for them? Yeah,
it's a scary situation, and I don't know what to tell people because we don't know what the city's going to do. And so even if they don't appeal it and they go to impose it, how they will enforce it, how aggressively they will enforce it, because the city still has control in that way. Even though there's a law in the books, they don't always have to enforce them. So I would say to the owners, though, start to do some preparation. This may be, if the ban ultimately sticks, it may be months or even years down the road, but start to figure out if there's somewhere else you could take your pit bull, if there's an argument that you can make. I mean, there's always, with the law, there's always arguments you can make. So is it a full breed? What are the specifics of the ban to see if you can maintain your pet with you?
It's tough when you think about the shelters too, because I feel like there's a lot of pit bulls in the shelters, and it's like, oh, well, what is everyone to do, that did adopt them, which is really sad. But kind of going back to like how they were even able to lift it when they didn't have the authority to. That's wild to me.
Well, it's a really interesting issue because we're talking about dogs and pit bulls and everything, but this is really a legal issue in how our government works. And so really what this citizen is saying is, hey, this negates the people power. And that's important just like we have a separation of government with different branches, we also have people have certain rights, such as imposing a referendum. What makes this one interesting, though, was that the city council had put the ban in the first place, and even though the voters essentially just said, hey, we're going to affirm this ban. So there is an argument that, well, this was initially a city council ban, so we do have the power to remove it. So that's going to be an interesting issue on appeal, and this is how our laws are made. A ban or a law is imposed, and then somebody challenges it. So this is a good thing to sort of develop and further evolve our laws.